Yeah.
So 15 minutes of it?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Dan. Well, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure meeting you, seeing some of you again. There's a lot of familiar faces in the room. Yeah, my name is Darren Suen. I'm running for Council District 1 in Elk Grove. And like I mentioned, I was appointed in 2014. And so I'm relatively new to the council, about 18 months. But in terms of experience, I believe when it pertains to at least city government, I'm more of a veteran. I spent over 20 years as a civil engineer. I've been educated as a civil engineer and practicing as a civil engineer. I've worked in land use planning. I've worked in transportation. Today I work in water resources. Was the chief of the Flood Operations Center, so I understand emergency management. And I was the first person to organize the original response to the drought team in the governor's interagency task force for the department. So, in fact, the drought emergency management system that they continue to use today was what I spearheaded. In terms of the council, we've got a lot of challenges here. We talked about creating jobs, and I aim to continue to encourage job growth and job creation in the community. As a government, we don't really have a control over jobs, but what we can do is we can set the table. What I mean by that is making sure that the proper infrastructure and enabling conditions are in place, and that includes safe neighborhoods, good parks, good schools, and recreational amenities for families to enjoy and want to bring employees want to bring their families here, and then subsequently hire from an educated workforce. So, big believer in education and STEM education. Would love to see a four-year educational facility in the city as well to complement our workforce that we have now. Again, to encourage job creation. Traffic is also a big factor for me as working in transportation and as an engineer. My goal is to increase capacity of existing projects and also mobility within our city. We talk about growth and all the traffic that's associated with that, and the need for a multimodal transportation system isn't just growth from our city. If we did nothing today as a population, just to the north of us along I-5, there's going to be over 5,000 homes that are coming with the Delta Shores project. They're looking to develop in the unincorporated parts of the county along Jackson Highway, Route 50. So if we did nothing at all, we will be greatly affected, our community, by traffic. And so we need to ensure that we have a multimodal transportation system that includes commuter buses and bus rapid transit or bus rapid transit type of facility. It's one of the things I advocated for. You mentioned about Democrats, Dan, and what your choice is. Recently I was the sole advocate for a sales tax measure, put it on the ballot because I believe that investing in infrastructure and our services, we're going to have to, chip in. I'm not looking to, nobody wants to pay more for anything. I totally appreciate that. But at the same time, we need to invest in our infrastructure. We want to, in order to maintain the quality of services that we have today, and hopefully improve upon that going forward. I've been endorsed by Congressman Ami Berra, Assemblyman Jim Cooper, Kevin McCarty, Patrick Kennedy, Phil Cerna, Don Tolley, and several, of the other Democratic colleagues around, Dr. Richard Pan, and I believe I can continue to do the job, and I look forward to serving all of you. So, I'll take any questions. Yeah.
Homelessness.
Yeah.
What, if elected in city council, your plans on addressing the homeless
Thank you for bringing
population?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We are fortunate that we are not suffering the degree of homelessness that City of Sacramento is.
I'm aware.
That's right.
I
So
work in the city.
For the city, I sit on the Affordable Housing Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned I worked in land development, so I actually work closely with affordable housing builders, and so I understand what it takes to build viable, affordable housing. Now, that is, to me, that is a preventive measure, making sure people can afford to live. Having affordable housing, whether it's income housing or ownership housing, having those available for folks to live preventing them from falling through that loop, because once they fall through that loop and become homeless, it's so much more difficult to get them back up, right? So making sure we have affordable housing, and, you know, and that, for that matter, you know, there's a lot of communities in the Bay Area, for instance, that might restrict housing growth. Now, that, I know there's a balance there, but the challenge of that is when you have things that causes the prices to skyrocket, like City of Davis, for instance, right? City of Pleasanton tried to do it. I failed to mention, I worked in a lot of communities throughout California. I got to see a lot of different governance structures and what seemed to work and what doesn't. And when you restrict housing, the prices go up, people can't afford it, and then you start to have the problem that you were talking about. So the best way is to ensure that we have ample supply of affordable housing, addressing our regional housing needs assessment, the RENA numbers, making sure those are addressed. So seniors too.
A lot of the homelessness stems from
Quality of life.
Yeah.
Did you see that, the quality of life in our stronger neighborhoods, do you think that that's being helped by the city pulling $6 million out of our drainage fund to purchase the property to put soccer complex in? Is that helping, or will that be helping our neighborhoods or hurting our neighborhoods? And how?
So, first of all, I'm gonna clarify, I wasn't around for that decision. But
But you're here now,
for the
so-
record, for the record, Lynn, I would not personally, from what I know about it, I would not have chosen to do that, and I am not, you know, disparaging my colleagues before me, because I'm sure they have their own reasons. I'm just saying, giving you what I know about it, okay? Now, whether, it's anybody's guess right now. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so my understanding is the council is pro casino, and.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead, that's okay.
The council could be pro casino.
Uh-huh.
Okay, if that happens, I know the casino gets a lot of concessions, and they're not really taxed and everything like everybody else is. So here's the issue. The issue is, what happens to the police and fire? Can we pick up the tab? What's the city's projection on that?
No.
Because we'll have to do the outside police and fire and
That's-
ambulance stuff. and-
That's right. So that, I'll just answer directly the question first. No, we don't pick that up. It is negotiated. In fact, we currently have, I believe it's $1.5 million, the numbers they're talking about for police services only. They've already, to my understanding, they've already negotiated an agreement with Community Services District for the fire services. So they do have to pay, and this is mitigation of impacts, folks. This is what we're talking about. So I don't know, whether you call it taxes or fees or mitigation of impacts, it's money. It's money. When it comes down to these types of things, you know, we're talking about money to pay for services. Again,